You voted and we listened. And now Aurora's launch event for the Singapore and Malaysia power markets is just around the corner. I'm William Lewis, Head of Commercial in APAC, and together with the team, let's answer a few of your questions on these tricky markets. So first, how do the Singapore and Malaysia power markets operate, and what are their key differences? The perfect question for Patrick Tan, our Head of Wider Asia. Patrick, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Thanks for the question, Wills. Despite being so geographically close for both Singapore and Malaysia, the power markets actually operate quite differently. Singapore operates a fully liberalized energy market, the national electricity market, where all electricity transactions take place, including wholesale electricity trading, vesting contracts, and reserve. In contrast, the Peninsula Malaysia, Sabah, and Sarawak power markets all work in single buyer systems, whereby over 99% of the energy is contracted with the region's independent utility. Peninsula Malaysia is in the process of liberalizing its power market through the new enhanced dispatch agreement system, but this is still in its very early stages.
Thank you, Patrick. Now let's double click on Malaysia. So the country has been pushing towards greater renewables build out, particularly on the solar front. So what schemes exist to promote the growth of renewables in the sector? For this one, let's bring in David Thoo, our research associate. David, over to you.
Thanks, William. Malaysia has quite a few schemes, but I would like to highlight three prominent ones. Firstly, the Large-Scale Solar or LSS scheme, a fixed tariff PPA scheme with TNB as the off-taker. LSS 6 is targeted to take place later this year according to the government. Secondly, the CRESS. It is a fixed tariff PPA scheme where large consumers directly contract with renewable energy generators. Thirdly, the CGPP. It enables solar generators to enter virtual PPAs with corporate consumers under a contract for difference system. This has since been fully subscribed. Well, there are, of course, other schemes such as the solar self-consumption and net metering, but PPAs are dominating the market currently.
Thanks, David. Now, turning our attention to Singapore, there's been a lot of talk about the ambitious power import projects, but perhaps taking a step back, what about the outlook for Singapore's power sector, and particularly their decarbonisation ambitions? Well, our advisory analyst Nick Loh can answer this one. Nick, what's the latest?
Yeah, thanks so much for that, William. So to that point, Singapore has identified 4 switches for its power sector to work towards a country with net zero emissions by 2050. So first on the list is Singapore aiming to improve the efficiency of its gas fleet. Second is solar and battery storage. So by 2050, the country can theoretically host up to some 8.6 gigawatts peak of solar and aims to complement this with battery storage. Third, and what we think is probably the most interesting, are renewable power imports. So currently, Singapore targets to import 6 gigawatts of low-carbon electricity from its neighboring countries by 2035, and this should make up to 30% of its power supply by then. And fourth, and finally, are low-carbon alternatives. For instance, the country has a target to include low-carbon hydrogen supply in its power mix, but we are yet to see exactly what policy mechanisms will help to achieve this outcome.
Thanks, Nick. So there you have it, a quick run through of some of the questions we get on the Singapore and the Malaysia power markets. If you have any questions or want to learn more about the inaugural reports for these regions, do get in touch through our website, email or social media. Our team would be happy to set up a meeting and talk to you in more detail about these regions. Thanks so much and see you all soon.